enjoy it. And so we are happy that we are back and we are coming to continue our studies. So some people still don't come to study online or come to have discussions on for us to all understand what is going on. They are still in the Christmas mood. So we will continue to learn. Today is 27th. It means we have to continue. So please, before we continue, can someone help us to remember what we've learned last week, what we learned? Today's unit is constructivism, Marxism. So before we continue, can someone refresh our memory what we learned last week?
Okay, Doc. Doc, good morning.
Morning, please.
Yes.
It's
Doc,
in the afternoon. We are still in the afternoon.
oh, sorry. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Doc, I remember you taught us definition and scope of international relations and regional integration.
Okay.
So you were able to differentiate between what is international politics, international relation, and the scope of international relation. So that is my little contribution.
Okay, so can you tell us the differentiation that you were able to have between the two concepts?
Okay, Doc. For international politics, I remember you said that it normally deals with issues like global governance, trade, and diplomacy. That is the interactions between states and international organizations. So they normally deals with diplomacy, conflict, and global governance. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. It seems if you don't take care, you lump everything together as all international politics, but there is a slight difference. Okay, there is a slight difference. When you see the scope, you realize that not everything falls under international relations, but everything regarding the world is about international politics, because there are some people who even believe that Ebonowa and his canoe is even part of international politics. Recently, I saw somebody opening his window and say, Ebonowa, come and rescue us. So even a white person, come and rescue us. And the flood is coming. Come and rescue us. Our government is not doing much to. Have you seen the way the dynamism falls? So some people, even their statement, their dance, their food, everything is about politicking. Okay, everything is about politicking. The way they even organize their funeral arrangements, how we Ghanaians, we organize our state funeral. In another jurisdiction, they will organize it in a different way. All boils down to international politics. Okay, somebody's statement. For instance, Trump, we have been hearing about Trump making ridiculous statements about African nations. It's part of international politics. You just want to make our leaders feel unconfident, okay? so that they cannot do things for themselves. It's part of the game, international politics. Okay. But when it comes to relationship, state by state relationship, okay, continent by continent relationship, Russia and Ukraine relationship, Nigeria and France relationship, Nigeria and US relationship. Recently, we've seen how US collaborated with Nigeria to clamp down the ISIS in northern Nigeria. It's part of international relations. Okay, so international relations is a subset of international politics. So when you are talking about relationship among states within the global world, then you are talking about international relations. Okay. Can another person also give us anything that he learned? At least you've seen the slides, you've seen the recordings. Yeah. Apart from Ernest, who else can? We have Isifu Nana. Can you tell us anything you've learned? Yes, anything you've learned. Winky, let's hear you. What did you learn last time? Winky has left because I asked a question. Okay, Isifu, let's hear you. What you've learned.
Hello, madam. Please, I learned about
Yes.
liberalism, and what I
Okay.
remember was with the liberal states or the people who practice liberalism, they are more of sitting down, the countries sitting down, going to agreements, cordial agreement. They like negotiation. That is the side of the liberal state, the state that likes liberalism. And with the one that they are more of realism. Uh, they don't have much time sitting down negotiating about things. They are more of autocratic nature. If you are doing something and they are not in support of, they will not sit down and negotiate with you like Burkina Faso and you and Russia. Madam, please, that's what I remember.
Burkina Faso and Russia has done what? Don't just say things and just leave it. You have to
Madam,
understand
please,
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Madam, please. These are the countries that their political philosophy is in line with the realism. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So you are giving examples. Okay.
Yeah, yes,
So
madam.
we talk about relationship, is state to state relationship. So that if somebody, a realist, sees that you are invading, you will just also strike back without doing any negotiation with you. They believe that the world is anarchic and that if you don't take control of your state and your people, another person can just enter. Uh, the liberals believe that it's best you sit down, you talk, you jaw, and you solve problems so that we all live peacefully in the world. That is good. Yeah, let's hear Nana Akoto. Nana Akoto, Or have you been able to read something? Is Nana Koto here? Nana Koto, let's hear you. Let's hear your voice. Nana Koto, are you there? So we'll continue from. Okay, so we'll do that. Today we are coming to learn about one of the theories or approaches to international relations. We are talking about constructivism. 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 Okay. So learn something about constructivism, learn something about Marxism, and then so on. So the literature indicate that constructivism is a theoretical perspective that originated in psychology and has influenced various fields, including international relations. Okay. The core idea of constructivism is that individuals actively construct knowledge through their experiences, interactions, and mental processes. Okay. So it's the creation of knowledge. And so if you want to create knowledge, it means that this approach is very good for you. This approach is very good for you. And you create knowledge based on your experiences. Based on your experiences. So if you are students of politics and you want to study a phenomenon, okay, you want to study a phenomenon, the studies will give you the results. The studies will give you the results. And the results will guide you to construct the knowledge. Okay. The results will guide you to construct the knowledge. So with the core idea of constructivism, individuals actively constructing knowledge through their experiences, interactions, and mental processes. Normally, let's come back to academia. When somebody is pursuing a PhD, at the end of the thesis, they will expect the students to provide us the added knowledge. Okay, so a PhD is not easy. At the end of the day, you have to read a lot of literature, gather a lot of data, listen to a lot of interviews, and then based on what you have gathered, you come out with a knowledge. So a PhD is having added knowledge, okay, added knowledge to whatever we are talking about. For instance, with my PhD, the added knowledge I had was that when we talk about barriers of women representation in politics, we cannot lump all barriers together. Okay? We cannot lump all barriers together. We have women who face hurdles to the extent that they could not even enter politics at all. They will never be able to enter politics at all. That is barriers, total barriers. And we also have challenges. So when you read the literature, when I extensively read the literature, I realized that they have put everything together. But I was able to add a knowledge that there is a difference between barriers and challenges. Challenges, some women may face challenges, but still they can enter politics. Okay? Some women will enter politics and still face the challenges, yet they will continue to pursue their ambition. That one, we can't say barriers. When we say barriers, it means that they have not been able to even enter politics. So you see that the small knowledge that you add to the existing knowledge, it means that you are able to construct knowledge. Okay. So let's look at the key principles of constructivism. The same thing as an international relation expert. When you study relationship among nations, you will be able to also construct knowledge. Recently, we've heard about President Mahama seeking for reparation and repatriation. Reparation to the extent that the colonialists or those Western world who came to Africa to exploit our human and material resources must compensate. That is reparation. Repatriation, we are talking about things that they took away from us. Okay, when you go to their museums and what have you, they have taken a lot of African artifacts to their homes. Somebody can study colonialism, somebody can study slave trade and come out with added knowledge. Okay, so that as we continue to read, you continue to construct new knowledge for people to understand. So one of the key principles of constructivism is active learning. Okay, constructivists assess that learning is an active process where individuals actively engage with information, make sense of that information, and build their understanding. It involves hands-on experiences, problem solving, and critical thinking. Okay, so you will learn and learn and learn, but if you don't critically think, okay, you will not be able to add anything to whatever you've learned. Okay. And then one other principle of constructivism is prior knowledge and schema. Oh, yes, prior knowledge and schema. What do we understand by that? Individuals bring their prior knowledge, experiences, and mental frameworks, that is schemas, to the learning process. New information is assimilated or accumulated within existing mental structures. For instance, when we started this program, I asked you to introduce yourself and give us your background, educational background. Some of you told us your background, and we also heard people saying that they have done social studies. So once you've done social studies, at least you have a schema in the sense that existing knowledge or mental framework that you can learn international relations is because it's about states, geography, and what have you under the social studies. Okay, about leaders, their roles in governing, in government. And so the moment you have this mental framework to the learning process, it becomes very easy. Okay, unlike somebody whose background is purely science or mathematics, all that he has been doing is calculation. And so the person don't have prior knowledge. Okay, that is why it's advisable that whatever you do in your master's level, at least coin it, and further study it at the PhD level. In this case, you have a mental framework, you have the knowledge, and you will be able to adapt to construct a new knowledge. Okay. Another principle is social interaction. Social interaction is considered a crucial component of learning. Interacting with peers, instructors, and an environment allows individuals to negotiate meaning, share perspectives, and construct knowledge. We are doing this because when we talk about international politics and international relations, it is vast. Just imagine learning the relationship of many countries around the world. If you are unable to have that prior knowledge or are able to relate or able to study the environment, there is no way you can have reasonable analysis when it comes to international relations. So social interaction, interacting with your peers, like I mentioned, we are all international students, but a lot of you are not on the platform. A lot of you have learned. And so if you are able to interact with peers, colleagues, students, and even around yourself, you'll be able to construct meaningful knowledge. Okay, that is why we say knowledge is power. So if you are able to learn a lot from others, apart from you, the individual, it means that you can have diverse views And once you have the diverse views, you can then come out and construct the knowledge added to the already existing ones. Okay. And another issue or principle of constructivism is zone of proximal development. The Z normally is shortened as or abbreviated as ZPD. The ZPD concept introduced by psychologists, okay, Leigh, suggests that learners are most ready to learn when they are just beyond their current level of competence. You see, zone of proximal development, saying that learners are most ready to learn when they are just beyond their current level of competence. So collaboration with more knowledgeable others can facilitate learning within this zone. And so if you are a learner and you just throw away your books and you start playing games, you are in tune with the games now. And so going back to the books will be very difficult for you. And so ZPD suggests that learners are most ready to learn when they are just beyond. Beyond, it means that you have gone past what you are supposed to do. That is why our parents, sometimes when we come home, especially during our basic education level, the parents will hire extra teacher to teach you to understand the curriculum ahead of time. You know why the parents are doing that? They want you to go beyond your competence. And when you are able to do that, you become so intelligent and you'll be able to aspire and pass your exams. They know the reason why they organize extra classes for students, so that during exams time, they will pass and pass well. So compare somebody who doesn't have extra teacher or extra hand to learn, or have extra time to learn apart from the classroom learning, and someone who is always learning. Even when there is a news, he stops whatever he is doing and listens to the news, read daily graphic all the time, read posts that are intellectual posts all the time. That person is sharper than somebody who doesn't read. So the concept of zone of proximal development means that when they go beyond their current level of competence, they will be able to learn and then learn fast. There is also the principle of there is also the principle of authentic context. Authentic concept. Learning is most effective in authentic, that is real world context. Constructivist approaches emphasize applying knowledge to solve real problems, making learning meaningful and relevant. Okay, solving real problems and making learning meaningful. So all the theses that they have asked people to write, some are in the shelves, some are in the libraries, but they were all information to solve a problem, because they identified a gap in the literature, especially action research. That is why sometimes you hear CDD. The Center for Democratic Development, sometimes they conduct research. They are think tank. So, like Imani, they organize research and then they come out with solutions to problems. When we read about their Afrobarometer of Africa, they have been able to identify reasons for corruption and officials who are engaged in corruption and how the public perceive these corrupt officials. So they have been able to make the percentages, how Ghanaians rate judges, how Ghanaians rate police officers, how Ghanaians rate those working in the courts, okay, how Ghanaians rate politicians. Okay. All these, if the government is able to sit down and read the results, you see that we'll be able to solve problems. Recently, the committee to review the 1992 Constitution studied the documents, went out throughout the country and asked people to suggest how we can review the Constitution. And truly, they've come out with recommendations and they presented it to the president. And so this knowledge is going to solve a problem, including what you've been mentioning here. Okay, that the president has a lot of power when it comes to appointment. The review committee has reviewed that authority. People were also saying that the 4-year term that is given to the head of state is few. And so they added 1 year, making it 5 years. So when the head of state resumes office, then it takes at least less than 6 months to organize him or herself, and then use the actual 4 years to rule. So they've just added the 1 year for preparation towards starting the term of office. Okay. And they have also reviewed that instead of 40 years to become president, anybody who is below 40 years and the person is 30 years can become president. So you see how we have added knowledge to already existing. When the 1992 Constitution came, we thought that that was the supreme document that we are all going to rely on. But as we continue to construct knowledge, we realize that the new generation, because of technology and ICT, they are more intelligent. So you cannot say that unless the person is 40 years before the person can run for president. They have reviewed it downwards. So when you are 30 years and you can convince people the capability and all the conditions attached, it means you can be president. Okay. So authentic context means that learning must be most effective to solve problems. You cannot just learn and present anything just like that without solving a problem. So that is the principle. Okay. There is also the reflection and metacognition. Reflection and metacognition. Reflective thinking and metacognition, that is thinking about one's own thinking, are integral part of constructivism. Learners are encouraged to reflect on their experiences, evaluate their understanding, and adjust their mental models accordingly. Okay, so once you are thinking, you have to think well and think within your thinking. You can't just say anything without thinking. So if you really want to construct knowledge, then you have to think within your thinking. You've been learning here, giving suggestions, reading, listening, and what have you. But before you think, you have to think within your thinking so that you know that whatever you are saying is reasonable and convincing. Because when you look at even papers that have been written by professors, today, some people have read and rethought and rethink to downplay that information. That is why sometimes they go for second edition, third edition, fourth edition, because the information they've given already, they have rethought, they are rethinking. And so when they review, they add more knowledge. So it's upon their experiences, upon their knowledge, upon their reading. Okay. So whatever you present out there, even now, when you are writing something and you cite 1956 referee, no, your lecturer will say that no. Whatever you read, some people have added knowledge. So instead of the 1957, they will ask you to make reference within 5 years, because every day we capture new knowledge. Every day we capture new knowledge. And so you cannot make reference to 1990 paper. Meanwhile, some people have reviewed that paper and have added knowledge. So the list should be 2020, because 2025 and 2020 is 5 years. So if you want to write constructive arguments with knowledge created, then it means that you don't have to go to 1990 and make reference. You have to make reference within 2000 and 2020 and then 2025, at least, so that you fall within the current knowledge creators. You can't just make reference to old reference, unless it's a theory that somebody created within that period. If you quote the theorist, then that is fine. Even that, when you continue to review, you make sure that you review downwards, so that at the end of the day, somebody who has read that person's literature or that person's knowledge have been able to add something to his current knowledge, and you can make reference to that. That one is acceptable. Okay. Okay, another principle of constructivism is student-centered learning. Okay, student-centered learning. Instructional strategies in constructivist settings are often student-centered, allowing learners to participate actively in their education. Teachers act as facilitators or guides rather than sole sources of information. So, student-centered learning, let's look at when you were in the basic school and when you entered the secondary school, and now that you are in the university, you realize that the university learning is student-centered, because what we are giving to you is just skeletal. We are giving you guidelines, we are giving you the points. But if you really want to learn much, means the literature we give to you, you have to sit down and be reading alongside the skeletal notes that your lecturers give to you. Unlike basic school, that whatever the teacher gives to you within the curriculum, you learn that and you pass. But to become exceptionally good and exceptional student, the university have introduced the student-centered learning. It means that after the lectures, you have to go to the library and make reference to the other referencing opportunities that the teacher or the lecturer has aligned for you. And when you read, you'll be able to understand more. And during your arguments in the exams, you'll be able to give more information. And that shows that your level of intelligence is high and you've been able to add knowledge to what you've been taught by the professor. Okay, that is student-centered. So I'll give you problem-based learning is another method of student-centered learning. When we say problem-based learning, it means that it's like preamble. Give the students the problem. Okay, for them to go to the literature and identify the problem and its solution processes. So when you are able to do that, it means that you've thrown to the students to go and learn on himself or herself and then come and present. That is problem-based learning. So they give out some topics or even a book for the student to review, okay, without the lecturer reviewing that paper. But if it's a problem-based learning, it means that the student has to go and review the paper and come and do the presentation. And when that happens, you see that the student is able to construct knowledge or have added information to the already given by the lecturer. There is also the issue of multiple perspectives. Multiple perspectives. Constructivism recognizes that individuals may interpret and construct knowledge differently. Okay, so encouraging exposure to multiple perspectives fosters a richer understanding of a subject. Multiple perspectives. Recently, we've been having some intensive debates about recolonizing Africa. I was on one of the intellectual platforms. People propose that recolonizing Africa will be best for Africans because after colonialism, our leaders are not leading the continent world. And we've also heard about South Africa. South Africa, who suffered apartheid. They are now saying that the African leaders who took over from Nelson Mandela are not doing right at all. They were even better off under apartheid, where the whites were ruling them than now. So they were calling for recolonization or apartheid to South Africa. So you see, multiple perspectives. If you are international relations student and you want to learn much about relationship in the world or state to state relationship, leader to leader relationship, it means that you have to have multiple perspectives to understand. And when you are able to adapt all these diverse opinions, then you'll be able to come out with your knowledge. There is also the issue of continuous learning and development. Okay, continuous learning and development. Learning is viewed as a continuous process of development rather than the acquisition of static knowledge. So individuals continually adapt their mental models as they encounter new information and experiences. So if you are a student and you continue to learn, it means that you continue to develop your mental capacity and you'll be able to construct knowledge. So compare a student who is always learning and then a student who is not learning. You see that the person who continuously learns is more sharper than a student who does not learn. Another key principle of constructivism is scaffolding. Scaffolding, okay? It refers to the support provided by teachers or more knowledgeable peers to help learners bridge the gap between their current understanding and a more advanced level of understanding. Okay, scaffolding. It means that some students are ready to tap more knowledge from others. So that, for instance, let's say if you are explaining scaffolding to an ordinary person who doesn't understand anything about scaffolding, you say that, oh, with your current level of education, you still want to go to class 5, but befriend with probably maybe Mavis or Kwame, so that by the end of the term, your level of knowledge of the class exercises will be balancing. And so it means that you are seeking information from another intellectual whose knowledge is above you. That is getting support from teachers or peers who are more advanced than you. That is scaffolding. So that a teacher who is professional, okay, even in the sitting arrangement in the class, you say that you sit by this person, you sit by this person. Normally, those who are intelligent do not sit together. Proper arrangement is that the more intelligent one will sit by the average student, or the less intelligent one, or the one who has a low intelligence capability. And at the end of the day, you realize that there has been some scaffolding going on. There has been some support from the peer, and the person will continue to advance in knowledge. Same to constructivism. If you want to learn and construct knowledge, it means that you have to understand from those who are already knowledgeable: teachers, peers, and seniors. Okay. So constructivism has implications for various educational practices. Okay, curriculum design, instructional methods, and what have you. Once we are adding knowledge or we are creating knowledge, it means that when it comes to all the creation, different practices take place. Various educational practices take place. Even during our curriculum design, recently we've seen the current curriculum. It means that during the review, they consulted the old curriculum and then reviewed it. Before we came out with the current one. Okay, so when we talk about constructivism, you can't just say anything, but it involves many practices, even our educational sector, even our politics, anything that we do, because we want to construct knowledge, we go by various practices. And when we are talking about academic, we are talking about educational practices. An example of curriculum design and instructional method. Like I mentioned, instructional method is one of them, the problem-based learning. Okay, that's the instructional method. Okay. So when you talk about applying or having implications for various educational practices, curriculum design, instructional methods, it means we want to construct knowledge or added knowledge to whatever we've already done. It's emphasizing or emphasizes fostering an environment that encourages inquiry, okay, collaboration, and critical thinking to promote meaningful and enduring learning. The application of constructivist principles has extended beyond education to the fields like cognitive psychology, social theory, and international relations. As I've mentioned, you have to learn a lot before you can do constructive analysis about the relationship among states in international relations. Okay, let's take a break and then we ask questions and then we continue. Any question, anything you want to learn? Any questions? What have you learned so far? What have you learned so far?
Hello, Doc.
Yes, let's hear you.
Yes, please. Doc, what I've learned so far about constructivism, that's the key principles, is that when you want to become very versed in constructivism, then one of the key principle is that you will need what you call scaffolding. And you said that scaffolding, it is when you get support from your teachers or people who know more than you. or your peers who are more knowledgeable so that there can be a bridge of gap between the current understanding and the advanced level of understanding. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, who else? Thank you, Ernest. Give us more, please. Who else? Hey, I'm waiting. Oh, at least 50% of the class must speak. Other than that, we will still be marking time. It means that whatever I spoke about, you didn't understand. Tell me something.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, let's hear you.
Yes, Doc. I also wrote about continuous learning and development.
Okay.
So, per what you said and what I wrote, you said that in constructivism, one of the key principles is that like the learner should be able to learn continuously so that they will be able to develop and acquire more knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, who else?
Doc, please, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, on the issue of Ebonoa, when you started the class, you made example about Ebonoa, and I want to find out that per what he did in any serious country, won't he be arrested for causing fear and panic?
Oh, what you can also understand is that in this country, there is the freedom of religion, religious belief. Okay. So if it had been any other country that do not believe in freedom of religion, that would have caused chaos. But in Ghana here, we believe anything when it comes to religion. Some people were even given pictures of some crowded people with their bags at their backs, their on their head, even sitting alongside road. You see, it's part of the euphoria about humanity. Some people did not understand him. Some people were just insulting him. But it became part of the people. People were so enthused about what is going on. People were even saying that some person even came that he was the father of Noah, and that when he fell down, his head hit the ground. So see, all the comic relief and all that. In some countries, you don't even have the luxury of projecting all this. Okay, countries like China, they have their own way of Facebook and TikTok, or what should I say, YouTube, or Twitter or X. They control the people when it comes to media. But in Ghana, we have the media freedom. So people can do whatever they want to do unless it is against the constitution. If the constitution frown against it, like some time ago, some people were having some kind of religious belief, but what they were doing, they were naked. Okay, they were naked and they had overgrown their hair. See women and men being naked walking on the streets. That one, the constitution will deal with you. That one is indecent exposure and it's a public eyesore. But with Ebonoa, he was preaching and then prophesying. Okay, even the prophets, they were prophesying, but they were rather criticized when they were not given substantive prophecy. Some people came and then prophesied that another person will do this, to the extent that the seat of government, okay, because we accept freedom of religion, the seat of government created an office under Honorable Elvis every Ankara, that when you have prophecy, in order not to create the kind of panic in the society, come to my table and then present your prophecy and then give us the way forward so that we pray about it and then do the necessary things. But Ebono's thing is, there are some people who were even joking about it. Kevin Taylor says that because of the Ebono's flooding situation, he has moved all the way from US, but there wasn't any show. Okay, it's part of humanity. It's part of the euphoria. And at the end of the day, the followers, now we are in a technological age and monetization of the internet. And because of the followers that he had, more than 1 point something billion followers all over the world, he has been able to earn some money. And we heard that he has bought a new Benz. Okay, so it's creativity, religion and creativity. So it's not causing any panic. No, it's even interesting. It's making people just believe themselves and have that kind of fun. Okay, but some religious beliefs put some people into danger. That is why the superpowers. We've heard about US collaborating with Nigeria to bombard the ISIS in the northern Nigeria. Are you okay, Ernest?
Yes, Doc. Very, very okay.
Any more questions from members?
No, please.
So what did you learn, please? Tell me what you learned. Add knowledge to what you already know. You've learned something originally. So today, what added knowledge do you have? Tell us and then we continue. At least I want to have three people to hear from you, and then we continue.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Please, so under the principles of contractivism, I've learned that there is multiples of perspective, in a sense that people have different ideas and we all as individuals see things differently. So to gain knowledge, we must listen to people or the ideas they have, which means we must read extensively
on how they also see things, and they have written it down, their research, and how they see how things go. So human being or knowledge is not an island. Nobody is an island. We should have different perspective of ideas. Through that, we can be able to learn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Left with two people.
Okay, Doc, I want to ask a
Yes,
question. I want
yes,
clarification.
yes, Gideon.
Uh, uh, Looking at the key principles, the last one he said it is scaffolding. I want to know the difference or the clarity between scaffolding and learning from known to unknown. That's pure learning from known to us, from simple to complex. Does it have a link to the scaffolding, please?
Okay, who can help Gideon? We are all sharing knowledge. Who can help Gideon? Learning from known to unknown, and then the scaffolding. Who can support? Oh, please, don't you want to share knowledge with us?
Hello, Doc. Can I try?
Yes, please.
Okay, Doc. Okay, Doc. So with what Gideon said, um, with the two, I think that they are not the same. The reason is that for scaffolding, as you say, that it's the needed support that a learner receive from a teacher or a PS or probably somebody who is more knowledgeable. They help it because the task can be done alone. And with my little understanding about the learning from known to unknown, it simply means that instructions start with what the learner already knows, then it moves to a new or unfamiliar knowledge. So I think that they are not the same. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, you've tried, and it's good because sometimes scaffolding, you may not know anything at all. So that is where from the known to unknown comes in. Okay. So through the scaffolding, you'll be able to know much. So you see that it's subsumed within, but the real term is scaffolding, like learning to bridge the gap from what you already know and what you don't know, so that those who already know will help you to understand what is actually happening. So you see that it's subsumed, but it's not the same. You can learn from the known to unknown without any support. But with the scaffolding, we are talking about people supporting you, guiding you to know much about what you already know. So it's somehow subsumed, but it's not the same, like Ernest said. Gideon, are you okay?
Yes, Doc. Thank you.
Okay. So it's left with one person, then we continue. Either question or suggestion.
Doc, please, so can a teacher or a lecturer use known to unknown to arrive at a scaffold?
When you are saying that, what do you mean? Try as much as possible not to confuse us so much, because when you read the scaffolding, they are talking about advanced level of understanding. Advanced level of understanding. So it's like with the scaffolding, you know little about something, but when your peers and your teachers guide you, you know much then, so that you become knowledgeable, more knowledgeable. Okay, that is why I'm saying that sometimes through the scaffolding, there are things that you may not know at all, but once you want to reach that advanced level of understanding, then you see the subtle, the from known to unknown comes in there, but it's not the same.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay, so let's hear one person and we continue. I want at least one person and we continue. Any question or suggestion?
Doc, I have another question concerning the same key principles.
Yes. Okay.
And mine is on students, and the question is on the student-centered learning. This case, when we are looking at the curriculum formation development, we say we have one type of curriculum that is student-centered, or the need of the people, that the curriculum is formed or developed through the need of the people. And does it reflect here, or this one, we always create the student at the center, at the middle, where the student become active part? I don't know if it should be at center when we are developing the curriculum, or the student must be actively participating in the lesson. I want to know the priority, the difference between that.
Okay, here, yes, here they are saying that the students must play active role when it comes to learning. That is student-centered. So for instance, I can give some literature to students, about 2 students or 5 students, to go and read the same literature. In this case, you give the preamble to the students, find the objective of this article, and then you give another person, find the objective of this. When you have 5 different people and you give them this particular assignment, that is where you see the difference. You realize that they all have different level of intelligence, different level of knowledge. Okay. And when you are able to assess that, that is where you bridge the gap. Okay, this is how the students understand this information. Those who are correct, you highlight that you are correct. You've done what the writer wants to say. Those who are unable to do that, you also correct them and guide them. Okay, so in this case, that is where the scaffolding comes in. You are guiding the students to know, to have advanced knowledge. Those who were able to pinpoint what you have already told, what you already know, or what the literature says. You know, those people are already advanced in learning. And so the other person with among the groups who was unable to come up with any objectives, then the scaffolding comes in. Okay, Kwesi, you realize that you were not able to give us what the literature says. So sit by Kwame, and Kwame will guide you for you to understand. In this case, we have already introduced the subject to the students. So now, Kwesi is going to guide him or her for them to have the advanced level of knowledge for him or her to also construct another knowledge. Are you okay?
Okay, thank you.
Good. So what we normally say is that in some lectures, for instance, in the sandwich where we teach governance and sustainable development, we have made it problem-based learning. Problem-based learning, it means that we devise topics and allow students to go and read with materials, reference materials. And so when they go and read, they come to class and present with a scribe. When we say a scribe, we are talking about a secretary, somebody like a secretary and the leader. So whilst the leader presents, the secretary will write. While they are having the discussions, the secretary will write. And after the secretary has written all that, they come and then make presentation. And before they make the presentation, all the group members must agree on the contents of the presentation. In this case, it's problem-based learning. You have given them the literature. It's also type of student-centered learning. Okay, it's also part of the student-centered learning. But this is another set of learning which we have termed it as problem-based learning. Okay, all because we want to have advanced knowledge, or we want to have great knowledge. Okay, so we can continue, or we have a question. Do you have any question? If not, then we will continue. Can you see the slides now?
No, Doc.
Okay. Okay. You see it now?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please, I can see.
Okay. So um that is that. So let's go to Marxism. Marxism. Okay. Marxism is a socio-political and economic theory that originated with the works of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 19th century. I hope you've all heard about Karl Marx. So it is a framework for understanding and analyzing societal structures, class relations, and historical developments. Okay. Central to Karl Marx's theory is that conflicts between social classes drive historical and social progress. Okay. So central to the Marxist theory is that conflicts between social classes drive historical and social progress. And so, with this understanding, analyzing the social structures, class relations, and historical developments, Marx says that all the conflicts between social classes drive historical and social progress. So let's look at our democratic system. How do you trace our democracy? Okay. And this socio-political and economic theory says much that the conflicts between social classes drive historical and social progress. How do we see conflicts among the social class in our society? How? Let's look at some of the tenets or principles of Marxism. We talk about historical materialism. Marxists view history as a series of economic structures and modes of production. So historical materialism posits that the evolution of means of production and the relationships of production fundamentally shape the development of human societies. Okay? Historical materialism posits or says that the evolution of means of production, we all know the means of production. What are some of the means of production? We talk about land, okay? We talk about landed property. You also talk about even labor. They are all
labor,
means of
capital.
production. Yes, and capital. All means of production. And the relationships of production fundamentally shape the development of human societies. And what do you see in Ghana as an international relations student? What do you see in Ghana? You are talking about conflict between social classes. Even look at the Galamsey that we've been seeing. If you realize that the government is taking its time to resolve this menace because they have extensively analyzed the situation. When they come in and start shooting people, what will be the end results? We are all thinking about human societies, shaping the society. But we have classes of individuals who are leading. We have politicians and what have you. Are you just zooming in to do whatever you think is necessary? Or you analyze the situation and then find a solution ground to it. Okay. I'm coming. Let me listen to this call and then get back to you. So the Marxists, those who believe in Marxists, they are concerned with the struggles of lower and middle class workers. Okay. So if you are talking about means of production and somebody has the land and is given to somebody like some they give this term, what is it? Abunu, abusa, and all that. And if you have the land, which is also means of production, and somebody is coming to provide his labor, also means of production, and you having the land, you also provide the capital. So it means that here, abusa means the person who is coming to provide the labor will have one. The person who is coming to provide the land will have one, and the person who is going to provide the capital will also have one. Here it brings understanding. But there are situations where there are conflicts, where some people use their status as rich people and then subjugate or lessen the well-being of the person that is working with you. So the ultimate goal of a Marxist is revolution that results in a classless society with fair distribution of goods. Okay. So they believe that if we have a classless, we don't have somebody who is so wealthy. We shouldn't have somebody who is so wealthy, and we shouldn't have somebody who is so poor. We should have equal distribution of society so that everybody will be fairly treated. So they are concerned with the struggles of lower and middle class workers, with the conflict between social classes, and with economic inequality. So that is why leaders who know that whereas people continue to be poor, they try as much as possible to bring the equilibrium. Okay, that's why sometimes they bring subsidies for the poor farmer who is in the village farming. And we have the buffer stock, where the government also buys a lot of produce from these farmers. All these are means and mechanisms to bring fairness in our society, because we are thinking about human development and we are also thinking about our society. So the masses believe in fairness. They don't want any class people. That is why sometimes when you are learned and intelligent, you see that when somebody who is so rich and industrious is within a community, he has built his own mansion. Okay, but there are some people who have also built their quarters around, and you having the strength and money, if you are able to even construct the road within your community, you see that a lot of people respect you. But if you remain in your corner with all the money, people hear that during Christmas you slaughter a cow, but you don't even give some to your community members. They always hear that you are organizing party. Even when you are passing by, you think that you are pompous, you have money. When your neighbor hears that there are armed robbers in your home, do you think they will call the police? No, they won't. So the conflicts between the classes, those who are poor, those who are wealthy, those who are learned and they are advanced and they have broadened their horizon, they have traveled. You see that the little thing they do, people appreciate. They come to their community, they build, and they at least construct the road for the people. And if possible, they even go to ECG and buy poles, electrical poles, and put them on the road for people because you are wealthy compared to somebody who is poor. But it's not like that. Some people, when they have money, they don't respect, they don't submit themselves. And the Marxist says that there is always conflict between these classes of people. Okay? And so one of them is materialism. Okay? The Marxists view history as a series of economic structures and modes of production. Historical materialism posits that the evolution of the means of production and the relationships of production fundamentally shape the development of human society. So let's look at about this second one, class struggle. Okay, the concept of class struggle is at the core of Marxist theory. The Marxists argue that throughout history, societies have been characterized by conflicts between different social classes, particularly the struggle between the bourgeoisie, that is owners of means of production, and the proletariats, who are the working class. And so they are trying to tell us that if you really want development in our society, the Marxists say that we should avoid this class society. It should be classless so that the poor becomes a bit wealthy, and then the wealthy man will also be there, so that there is fairness. Okay, in your community, once you do that and you respect the people, even when you have organization, you employ some of them. Okay, when you come around and you organize a party, just be open. Okay, so that people will also benefit from your work. When you do that, then you have peaceful coexistence and everybody will be fine. Okay. So they focus on class struggle. The wealthy, those who have all the means of production, capital, land, and what have you. But the working class, those that they work for you, it appears anywhere. So if you are an employer and you have employed some people, and the payment that you give to them is not enough, if even you don't have the money, at least pay them the minimum wage. Okay, pay them the minimum wage that has been accepted by the state. In that case, even when you are sent to any place, you pay them the minimum wage. There are some people who are cheat to the extent that for 2 months they will not even be paying their workers. You have the means of production, you have the capital, all right, you have all the production in place, but the workers are struggling. And you think there will be peace? No, there will continue to be class struggle. And when some group of people plan to eliminate you. No one will come and tell you. You'll be there and they will unlock your door and then maim you, or excuse me to say, kill you, because you have not been fair. You are having these workers and yet you are not being fair to them. So that's what the masses are saying. You should avoid this class society, but have classless, so that there is fair distribution of economic resources. The masses also, one of the principles is that there is capitalism and exploitation. Okay, Marxism critiques capitalism as a system of inherently based on exploiting the working class. Okay, so the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, the bourgeoisie are those who have the means of production, they own them, and the proletariat and the working class. So the masses say that there is some class level among those who have or own the means of production and those who are the working class, the proletariat. And so it's some form of exploitation. The Marxists argue that capitalist mode of production leads to the commodification of labor, with workers being alienated from the products of their labor. Okay, we also have means of production. Marxists emphasize the significance of the means of production, land, factories, technology, and how ownership and control over these resources determine social relations and power dynamics. Okay, I like this person who is rich. I think, what's the name? He has this Ghanaian. Is this rich person who has established food ventures in the northern region and in Accra. Oh, this rich man, mention his name for me.
Ama.
Yes, yes, yes.
Festus,
Hey, are you in the church premises and how are you able to learn with all this noise? Hey, are you an elder or you are suffering or what? Or you just open the laptop and you are there to show that you are present. It means you are not here, Festus. You have just opened and you are just there. Hey, please. Okay. Yes, I was making reference to Amma. Oh,
Niyama.
yes, Niyama, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Dr. Niyama Kwe.
Yes, Niyama Queen, yes. People may think that he is very, very industrious and intelligent. You see how he has started. He's making people love him. He's making the poor appreciate him. He's making the poor understand him. And so that wherever he is, even when somebody is saying things that does not sound well in the ears of people, you see that they will defend him. And I know that during his birthday, he gave the workers some amount of money. And you think that if these workers have another plan, they will leave? No. It means that he has the means of production and he's trying to balance the equation so that the workers will love him and then they will continue to do the work. And he will continue to get more money. That is what most Ghanaians don't know. Most Ghanaians exploit their workers. They don't pay them well. And even during Christmas, they don't even give them Christmas bonus. At least you can give them, even if you are able to give them 200 cedis to buy rice and oil, at least they will appreciate it. If all this from January to December, you are an employer and you are unable to appreciate your workers like this, then it means that you don't even appreciate what they are doing for you. And so the exploitation that the masses say is part of its commodification. They think that their labors are commodity. They just use them without necessarily looking at how they are faring in their life. But this Amman person understands what it means to appreciate the workers. Okay, so that is what we are talking about. All boils down to class struggle. Class struggle. Even when you have the money and you are able to pay your workers well without exploiting their labor, then you are bringing fairness into our society. And it also ensures that people also develop. Some companies, they have devised means of making people go for further studies. Okay, go for further studies. How do they do that? Okay, if you are going for further studies, they sometimes give you a loan. Okay, they don't say that because you are working, I will not approve your study leave. They even give them a loan so that they pay it in installments. And when you do that, the workers, when they go, they come back to even do internship in your organization because you treated them well. Okay, so if you are an organization, you have an organization, and you don't treat your workers well, there's no way the worker will go and come back. Okay, unless they have seen that you are the only alternative. Other than that, they will choose another alternative. And even when you call them, they will not even mind you. So the exploitation of labor also is problematic when it comes to human society. Okay. Surplus value. Marx introduced the concept of surplus value, representing the additional value created by workers beyond what is necessary for their subsistence. Capitalists extract surplus value as profit. So listen again. Marx introduced a concept of surplus value, representing the additional value created by workers beyond what is necessary for their subsistence. So capitalists extract surplus value as profit. So in some organizations, these workers work to the extent that they do overtime. But instead of paying them the overtime, these exploiters or capitalists, they just take them without recognizing their hard work. But in an organization where the workers have added value, that's the surplus value, to whatever you are having, and you are gaining profits, the reasonable thing is that pay them their overtime, or at the end of the day, pay them what they do. When you do that, there wouldn't be any conflict. Okay. Communism as the end goal. Marxists envisioned a historical process in which capitalism will give way to socialism. Okay, we've heard about socialism, like the Social Democrats, the NDC people. They believe that whatever we have as a resource, we should share among all. Okay, and so the masses believe that one day, where the capitalists exploit people, okay, it will give way to socialism. where we share all the resources together. So a transitional stage where the working class seizes control of the means of production. Ultimately, this will establish a classless and stateless society known as communism. Okay, so that is what the masses believe, that one day, people who are the working class will seize the means of production, and then ultimately we turn our attention to communism, where they will make sure that they control everything. Okay, let's break and then we continue. I'll still be online and then we continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc. We are grateful.
Hmm?
In about 5 minutes, then we continue. Thank you.
Ernest.
Okay, okay.
Reza, what are you waiting?
Yes, Doc gave us extra 5 minutes, so she's still on the line. We will start soon, please.
All right, all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, we are back. And so before we continue, I want to ask you what you learned about Marxism or the theory of from Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. How did you learn? How did you relate to your own experiences? We are 8 here. I need to 4 people to tell me how do you relate Marxism or Marxist theory to your experience. I need 4 people, please. What did you learn from Marxism? Let's see. Yes, Ernest, let's hear you.
Okay, Doc. Doc, please. The little that I learned from Marxism that I can relate to my personal life is that you said for Marxism, a worker works long hours but struggles to meet basic needs due to the theory, and also the business owner becomes wealthier without doing a physical work. And you also made um, some point about class struggle and the means of production being the land, factories. You also mentioned bourgeoisie and proletariat. Thank you, Doc.
Ernest,
Yes, Doc.
please repeat what you acquired again, and let's hear you whether you are on the right path.
Okay,
Because
Doc.
I'm a bit confused what you are presenting. That's why I always want to hear from you.
Doc, I
What
said
you
that,
Mhm.
yes, Doc, I said what I learned from the Marxist theory is that most of the times a worker works longer hours but struggles to meet basic needs. And also the business owners, they become more wealthier. Um, they become more wealthier than the people that employ them to work.
Okay. So there is the issue of class struggle.
Yes, please.
Okay. That is good.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
So how does this relate to your experience?
Um, for my personal experience, I once worked in a private school, and at the end of the month, when I see the school fees that comes and the proprietor, the money that he give it to us, you see the proprietor too, he's riding in a good car, and you can see he's building his houses. But when we talk about salary increment, then he becomes angry. He say he pays a lot to GRA, SNATE, and the rest. Then we kept quiet. So when I had a better offer, or when I had the GES offer, I didn't even tell him that I'm leaving his school. I just left, and when everything was well for me at the GES, I came back. Then I wrote my letter that I resigned. So that was my personal experience, Doctor.
Oh, okay. That is good. That is good. At least you came back to resign on a very good note. Even still, some people steal the employer's properties. Eh? If they have maybe a printer with them, they will steal the printer or maybe a machine or a copier just to register their protest.
Yes, a friend of mine did same, Doc.
Yeah, yeah. So that is what we are talking about. Materialism. People just think that acquiring those things and other things will just make the employer furious, and then for him to also be satisfied. Okay, that is why Marxists, those who believe in Marxism also believe that one day, the worker or the proletariat will take over. They will take over and become bosses, and that is where communism sets in. They are taking over what the uh, the leaders or the exploiter or the capitalist has been exploiting them. Okay, so that is fine. Good. Let's have about two people what they've learned on the Marxist theory for us to continue. Yes, end time. Let's hear you.
Okay, Doc. Please, what I have also learned from this lesson is that unequal class, or when there is inequilibrium in the sharing of resources, it can lead to anarchy in our society. That's when the rich people are exploiting the poor one or their workers. One day, the workers may protest. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Yeah. When the workers protest and then there is anarchy, we all not have a peaceful society. So the masses believe that there should be at least fairness in the distribution of resources and then the means of production, because we have people who have or own the means of production, whereas the workers are commodified, or their labor is a commodity that they just acquire without paying the right compensation or giving them the right wage. And so when they become agitated, you see that there will be rioting. Okay, so the masses believe there should be fair distribution of economic resources in a society, and that there should be classless society. We shouldn't have more rich people and then more poor people in a society. When that happens, it's bound to be chaos. Okay, thank you. Let's have one person and then we continue. Another person different from those who have spoken, and then we continue.
Hello,
Yes, let's hear you.
Doc, please. What I have also learned from the lesson is that Marxists believe that a time will come that the socialists, those who believe in the social democrat, that will take over because of the over exploitation of the capitalists, those who believe in the capitalism. That is what I have learned so far.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll continue. Okay. So that is what Emmanuel said. At the end of the day, they also establish a classless and stateless society known as communism, so that the workers will take over. Okay. And then we also learned about dialectical materialism, drawing from Hegelian dialectics, that is, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, summary. The Marx developed dialectical materialism, emphasizing historical development dynamic and contradictory nature. It involves the interplay of opposing forces and the resolution of contradictions. Okay. When you look at dialectical materialism, it's talking about dialect, okay, or dialogue. You can see that when we are talking about dialectical, we are talking about dialoguing, so that opposing forces and those who don't agree or come and resolve any contradictions or conflicts. They believe that, okay, so that if somebody presents something and you don't agree, all that you have to do is that you bring the ideas together and you come or agree on a consensus. When that happens, there is bound to be peace and tranquility in the society. So dialectical materialism is drawing from somebody's statement, somebody's thesis, somebody's even antithesis, synthesis, analysis, statements. Okay, so that when you are able to have the dynamism, and everybody, though they disagree, of course, all come together, Jojo, create the dialogue situation so that everybody will have the understanding. Okay. There is also the issue of the role of the state. Masses view the state as an instrument of class rule, serving the ruling class interests. The state is seen as maintaining the existing social order and protecting the bourgeoisie's control over the means of production. So that is what the masses believe, that those who are wealthy in a society, the state rather protects them. Okay, we are in a country where the state protects some individuals when it comes to resources. We've heard about the state supporting some wealthy people who are demolishing individual houses in the name of rare estates. We've heard about state supporting individuals acquiring some community resources, okay, where the community will struggle with the individual who is wealthy, but because he's being backed by the state, the people wings are crippled. We've also heard about state sponsoring people who go and then take people's property from some land. So the state control, role of the state, the masses view the state as instruments of class rule, serving the ruling class's interests. So the state is seen as maintaining the existing social order, where we have the wealthy, the middle class, and the poor or the underprivileged. There is no way, even in our part of the world, a government will love a poor person. Once upon a time, we heard that President Akufo-Addo said that if you want to be a millionaire, you can't be a teacher. You don't have to be a teacher. Okay? So those who are even having the intelligence, once you don't have money, the state and the government has no interest in you. Okay? You think that if Honorable Kennedy Japan, he hasn't gotten money, you'd have had the opportunity to be the aspirant in MPP. No, because of what they know. The state protects the class, those who are in class level, because of what they gain from it. Okay. Same, the state also use this opportunity to amass some wealth from those who are in this class society. We've heard about Indom. How did the state also amass wealth from India? By collecting loans and what have you. So all these things come back to us. If the state is protecting these people at the helm of affairs, how do you, the underdog, excuse me to say, the underprivileged or the poor, wriggle yourself from this problem? So that is it. Okay, that is it. There is also the issue of imperialism and global capitalism. Imperialism and global capitalism. Marxist theories, including Lenin, expanded the analysis to include imperialism, that is control over territories, markets, people outside one's country, that is example, colonies, as in colonialism, as an advanced stage of capitalism, marked by global expansion of capital and exploitation of weaker nations. Okay, we've heard about colonialism, how people who colonized Africa exploited our mineral resources. Okay, and so the advanced form of capitalism is colonialism, in the sense that once they are exploiting, then you see them controlling the colonies and even the counties. Okay, so it's part of it. It's part of it. So imperialism and global capitalism, the Marxists believe that when people exploit too much, it turns out to be colonialism, in the sense that look at how the British controlled the South Africans. Okay, they came to settle on that land because of the weather conditions, favorable weather conditions. At the end of the day, they started exploiting. And then eventually, they took over everything, exploitation by these capitalists, and then they turn out to be colonialists. Okay. So even up to now, we still have some states or the county in South Africa where it's only white only. Even if you are black and you have all the money, you will not be given land in this white community. But if you are white and you have even little money, you will have land in that community. That is what you are talking about. They want to be imperial leaders. So he's talking about imperialism, whilst they control territories, markets, people outside one's country. So the Europeans came and then took over everything. I remember when Nelson Mandela organized this freedom fighting against the colonialists or the Europeans, or especially the British, who were controlling South Africa. A lot of people had to leave South Africa country to other countries, European countries, even Australia. I remember we had a bus driver in one of the buses in Australia, and he didn't like blacks at all. But a lot of blacks, especially because the Australian continent is big, they accepted a lot of refugees from Sierra Leone and even South Africa. So a lot of blacks went to South Africa, but this white man didn't like blacks at all because Nelson Mandela came and then dismantled apartheid. So you see, so if the proletariats are able to clamp down those who are in the worldly class, see that they take over everything. So that is why the Marxists are saying that imperialism and global capitalism, it leads to colonialism. And so they exploit weaker nations. There is also the critic in this ideology, a taker of ideology. Marxists argue that ideologies, including religion, law, and culture, often legitimize and perpetuate the existing social order. So these are seen as reflections of the material conditions of society. So we have religion, we have law, we have culture. Okay, they sometimes legitimize and perpetuate the existing social order. So look at our beliefs in religion. Whereas when we go to church, because of the preaching, the preacher will say that in the Bible, the old woman with the queen, he put everything in the offering bowl. Okay? And they put these things into people's minds and they worsen their condition. So that somebody, because of the advice of a religious leader, will go and sell his or her property and say that he's sowing seed. He's sowing seed in the church. And at the end of the day, you see the pastor flying in private jets, whereas the person is walking on the ground. Meanwhile, the person has sold his property and then sow seed in the church. So religion also contribute extensively when it comes to this class struggle in our society. Law too, when you read the law, there are some aspects of the law that discriminate against people, and people use the law. For instance, in Ghana here, we have laws that make men marry more than one. But do we have laws that make women marry more than one man in this country? No. So the issue of patriarchal structures where the male is considered as supreme is by the law. Okay, the male must be the household head. And so even when women politicians, women who want to aspire to be in politics, they have to seek permission from their husbands. Other than that, they will be divorced. But have you seen men seeking permission from their wives before they enter into politics? No. So the policies and laws continue to also perpetuate vulnerability. And that is what we are talking about, ideology involving the law, involving culture. They often legitimize the struggle, the class struggle in our society. So Marxism has been influential in political and economic theory and sociology, as well as social studies, cultural studies, and other disciplines. So while various branches of Marxism exist, and the theory has undergone adaptations and critiques over time, it's continued to shape discussions on social inequality. Have you seen social inequality, class struggle, and the nature of capitalist society? So let's look at even social inequality. Okay. So I believe that in our Ghanaian society, there is social inequality, even from a cultural perspective. Once upon a time, we still had the witch camp in the northern part of the country. And when you go to the witch camp, who are the people you see? It's only old women who are there, and they are suffering. It's inequality that we are talking about. This is gender inequality. It's old women who are only classified as witches, and they are harbored in the witch camp. When you come to the southern part, Trokosi is only girls who are made to atone for the sins of their uncles and their elderly. Only girls, not boys. Okay. So we, in our court, in our beliefs, this social inequality persists. We also had female genital mutilation, where some culture believe that a woman should not have feelings. It's only the feeling for the husband. And so he is not entitled to have a clitoris. Clitoris, you know, clitoris, vagina, what is inside the vagina. So that you have sensitivity, so that even when the husband is not around, you will not have any feeling for any man. It's equality. Okay. And now the same law has made it illegal. Okay. So when they see or hear that a household is performing genital mutilation on a woman or a girl, the person can be sent to court. The same thing. They are making laws to disband witchcraft. Now, troposi is also outlawed, so that in our society, if you send a girl child to a priest to atone for the sins committed by his elders, is a sin. So you see how the vulnerable continue to be vulnerable, and the wealthy and those who are in upper class continue to enjoy. Okay. Okay, so this is it. Questions. Yes, let's hear you. Oh, somebody wants to talk. Let's hear you. Or the person, unmute and then talk, please. Hey, are you not talking? I heard somebody say something. Can we hear you?
Hello.
Yes, can you hear you?
Please. My question is: would there be a time or a situation where we are going to have a classless society? Because looking at our nature, you cited an example of traditionally. We believe that even all hands are not the same. So will it be a time that we are going to have, equal society, or somewhat, if not, all of us are not a bit, closer, we will not be a far distance, class. Would there be a situation?
Are you making reference to our Ghanaian context African context or the world over?
Yes, I'm talking about Ghanaian, and then for that matter, African perspective.
Oh, that is what we are all hoping for. That is why when they overthrew the democratically elected president in Burkina, people are now hailing the military regime. What is Tuareg doing that people are hailing him so much? It's because he's trying his best to provide for the poor, those who were under democratic governance. They were not having that. The poor was continuing to be poor. They were having rich people amassing state resources. But when Tuareg came, one were the days that we didn't accept military regime. But the moment Tuareg came and started providing education, food, work, housing for the people, have you seen that people have kept quiet? And
Yeah.
people are now redefining military regime. And to the extent that recently we've heard the president saying that when you were outside where his inauguration took place, and you heard Tuareg in the vicinity, you heard the loudest clap for Tuareg because of what he's doing. Same when you go to countries like Finland, education is free. Okay, education is free to the university level. Education is free, and every month, people are given some money from their resources.
Really?
Yes. So have you seen how leaders who read and then understand people need, they try as much as possible to bring fairness in the distribution of their resources? If you do that, there is no way they will be cool. Okay? There will not.
Yeah.
There is no way people will fight. There is no way there will be conflict. And so, have you seen the previous NDC government and the current NDC government? When they came, they removed some taxes that continue to impoverish the people, that continue to take some money from the small wage that the people are collecting. And so, even Ashanti region, they were dancing NDC song. So I'm praying that a time will come. Why is it that people are even calling for the third term of office for John Mahama? Because he has now re-strategized how he governed the nation. And now it has become people-centered. Okay? So that he's making policies to address the inequality in our society, to the extent that he's collaborating with people to even establish universities in most of the regions. It means that people will have access to education. People will have access to healthcare. So that if the rich man goes to the hospital, they will not say that because you are rich, we are giving you bed, and for the poor man to sleep on the ground. Okay? When you do, it means that you continue to perpetuate inequality in our society, and the class struggle will continue. But though we will not have 100% classless society, at least there will be fair distribution, and those who are able to work hard will get their source of wealth and then enjoy their wealth. But in some countries, because of corruption, because people want to exploit people, some people will work harder and harder. Still, they will not get the money.
Thank you, Doc.
That is why even in some states or advanced countries like America, when you don't have employment and they know that you are a citizen, at the end of the month, you are given some money to take care of yourself. But in Ghana, I'm yet to see something like that. What we normally see is the LEAP, livelihood empowerment against poverty, which is even the money is woefully inadequate. Hmm? If you give uh, 300 or 200 to a household, I mean, it's woefully inadequate. So what the government must do is to create a lot of employment opportunities for people to also work. And when they work, you pay them well. Okay? When you pay them well, they will be able to also afford their housing facilities, their feeding, their education, their health, and even safety. They will be able to hire security persons to take care of their property whilst they are out there working. But in this country, how many people are able to employ security in their homes? Because the money that they are receiving is even less to think about hiring security. So instead of security, they have either installed CCTV or they have also have a lot of dogs in their environment so that the dogs will just bark and then drive these thieves away. But some people have been able to have CCTV, they have dogs, and still have security persons in their homes. Okay. And
Yes.
so you can see the level, the class level. Whereas some people are just enjoying, others don't even have one security in their homes.
Yeah.
So that is how it is. So we may not have 100% classless society, but at least if the workers are paid well and they are satisfied, at least we will not have chaos. We will not even experience the demonstrations and the strikes from teachers, from college teachers, from lecturers, professors. You will not have strike situation because they are paid well.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go for the summary, I need two people to, I'll send you the slides after. I hope you all have your emails. The last time I mentioned that some emails were not right. Some emails were not right. With the way they have written it, it's not right. Some, I think one Emmanuel didn't have his email right. Instead of .com, he has made it .com, but the M is two. The M is two. So please correct it. And if you have any alternative email too, you can give it out. And then another person, Safanu too, I think is Yahoo. Yahoo is not working because probably Yahoo wants you to pay and you don't want to pay. And so there is no incoming emails and there's no outgoing emails. Now, Yahoo wants to monetize his page, Yahoo Mail. So you have to pay. Either your storage is full and you have to pay extra storage, or you don't receive any mails from Yahoo. So I identified two people, one Emmanuel, and
Emmanuel,
then
Doc.
yeah. Is that
The one-
you?
Yes, please.
So have you corrected the email?
Oh, I will check and correct it now before we close.
Okay. So if you haven't received any slides, please contact the class rep, and when you give the correct email, we'll send you the slides. I've already sent the first piece objectives to code. It's 20 objectives. I'm here to set the other ones, the 20, and then the other essay questions to them. So we are moving forward. So don't waste time. Just get your slides, listen to the audio, and then study hard. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Well,
Okay, so okay, so let's continue. Okay, so today we've been able to do constructivism. We've done some key principles of constructivism. We've done Marxism. We've done key principles of Marxism. So as a take-home assignment, yourself, what is constructivism? What is Marxism? Give 5 key principles of constructivism. Give 5 key tenets of Marxism. And then read the materials that I'll send to you, and you are good to go. Okay. Let's give us some 5 minutes to ask questions, ask for clarification and contribution. And then we call it a day.
why are people not talking?
Yeah, okay, but I want to hear from you.
Hey,
Whatever you've learned. If it's not, then we correct it.
I can't my mute to do. So we did Teresa.
But you are right. Why are people not talking?
Okay.
Okay, so can somebody summarize what we've done today, and then we call it a day? Other than that, we are wasting our time. We have to go and continue our last poetry or last and Nkokon and the Kusia that we had. Okay, have to go and enjoy it. So
Yeah.
can somebody summarize it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If there is no issue to be discussed and people don't want to talk, then let's say enjoy your day and have a wonderful Afishiapa. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Doc. May God bless you. We
Okay.
appreciate you. Please, I have corrected my email address. Should I send to
Okay.
you or send to our course rep?
Put it on the platform, copy, and then you paste and correct so that others who have not yet also done that will also do same.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.